and welcome back to SNB Monthly, the best worst book club with honestly honest reviews. I'm your co-host Bekk.
And I'm Stephanie.
So this is our October recap episode. Do you want to let everybody know what they're in for? What did you read?
Okay, so I read Light Kissed and Shadow Divide, which I'll be reviewing together because they're 2 of 3 books in a series. And then I read The Slob, The Harbinger, and The Bird Eater.
Oh, buddy. Okay, so I read a lot. I read Bones and Feathers, Dark Harvest, Jinx, Awkward in October, Stolen Tongues, The Bird Eater, Starvacre, and Morbidly Yours. Whew. And I did the same thing last October. I don't know why I decided October is the reading month, but it was. And because of that, I'm going to go first, kind of in a weird format. I'm going to start with my 5-star, but I think people are going to want to stick around for my 1-star because I have a lot to say.
Okay.
So it's going to be a long one, and I am so sorry. First one is Starvacre by Andrew Michael Hurley. It is horror. It is 224 pages. The format I had it on was audiobook, but I will get into that later. Starvacre isn't a haunted house story. It's a haunted land story. By the way, quick fun fact, because I'm Snapple Facts, Starvacre is the name of the house because before houses in like the 1765, properties throughout England were like named instead of having like an address. Like it wasn't like 2111 whatever.
Oh, like a
it
boat.
Was it was named.
Okay,
yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Isn't that a fun fact?
We should make Starvacre for our places.
We should. So Starvacre is the house. Years ago, the land contained an oak tree that was used for the town's hangings. The violence of these actions may or may not have caused the soil around Starvacre to be barren. Richard, the main character, receives this house as inheritance following the deaths of his parents. Him and his wife, Juliet, move in and start a family. That is, until their son, Ewan, dies suddenly. So it's kind of a fun way of being written. It alternates between flashbacks of Ewan's life and death and the present situation that Richard and Juliet find themselves in. It is also written in 2 parts, so there's no chapters. It's just part 1 and part 2. Oh, wow. It's before and after. The first is being how the couple is dealing with like the grief of losing their son. And the second is what happens after Juliet tries to contact the spirit of Ewan.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds really good.
It was really, so I think part of the reason I was able to get through so many books is that I read some of these books. This was an audiobook, and I think audiobooks for horror works really well because you're like kind of like you're listening to it. So like you hear what's happening.
Right.
So it was really fun.
Yeah.
But I did get like the you know how on Amazon you can like get the sample?
Yeah.
I read the sample because I wanted to like see how like it was written instead of just hearing how it was written.
Right.
So even the sample, it was very well written. I really liked the writing style, the characters, the grief, the guilt, the shocking elements. Like like I had to pause it and like, you know, the hand to the mouth of like, oh my God, what just happened?
I love when books do that.
Yeah.
You do an audible gasp.
You just sit there and you process it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I can continue.
Right.
Oh. I saw a lot of the reviews on Goodreads, which you and I have a tenuous relationship with Goodreads reviews anyway. But I saw a lot of reviews that were disappointed with a lack of detail in the book and how it ends. But for me, it was kind of a plus because you are part of the story, right? Like you want an explanation to know why or how everything is happening, but isn't that kind of like part of like, oh shit, what's actually happening?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So I liked it, but I can see how some people probably wouldn't. And we'll get into that later too with one of the other books where it didn't help the story at all, not knowing, you know?
Right.
This helps the story because you're just as confused.
Okay. I might have to listen to. I haven't listened to a book yet. I've never done audiobooks, so maybe this will be my first one.
Yeah, it would be.
I need to give it a try.
You should give it a try.
Yeah.
Bird Eater was an audiobook. So there's some Kindle Unlimited books that come with free audio.
Mm-hmm.
Bird Eater was one of them.
Okay.
But you just have to look for like the little headphone symbol next to the Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
If like you don't want to like get an audio or what is it, Audible.
Right, yeah, because I don't have that.
Well, and it's like an extra $15 a month for what, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. There's only like one line in the book that I was like, why is this here?
Really?
Yeah. And it was literally just like one like little sentence. I'm like, was that necessary? But the rest was fine. I originally rated it like 4 stars, but the more like, you know how you're done with a book and you kind of get that hangover, or like you continue to like think about the book? That happens continuously after this book. So I bumped up the rating because I'm like, obviously if I'm thinking about it afterwards, I still have like some sort of, I don't know, it had an effect on me. Right. So I'll probably go while my mom's here to go and hunt down like the paperback so I can put it in my 5-star trophy case, because I only keep 5-star books.
I saw it at Barnes & Noble when I was there last.
I will have to go to Barnes & Noble.
And I was there with Alexis the other day. She had to get braces things done, and it's far away where we go. So we stopped at Barnes & Noble, and I'm like, oh, I want to read that. Bekk just read that. I remember pointing it out to her. So yeah, it's there. Well, I mean, it's at ours. I don't know. I'm going to assume it's, yeah. Anyways. Awesome. Yeah. So I was interested before after I saw you were reading it, and I read about it,
and then I complained that I couldn't put it on social media because
I know, because Starve.
Come on, dude.
I mean, we had a conversation.
How
was that? You can't write Starve, but
yeah, because I was like trying to like every time I read a book after I'm done, I try to like collect as much like, what are other people doing on social media that we could like similarly do, right? It blocked me from even searching it. It's like, hey, do you have a eating disorder? Because you should call this hotline. I'm like, no, dude, I'm just trying to read the book.
It's the name of a book. Yeah, that sucks.
It's so ridiculous.
4.5 stars. That's good for you. That means it must be pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm actually I think you and I are pretty stingy on our 5 stars, but
yeah,
again, I think
extremely.
Yeah, I think after thinking about it afterwards, you know, the days after,
I have that with the Hollow Places. That's almost like a 5-star, because I still think about that one a lot, even still. So, and I really, I don't know. That's when I first started getting back into reading again. So I was like, I don't know, but I gave it 4. That might be a 5, honestly.
Yeah,
I love that dang book. So
such
good.
A good book.
But yeah, cool. So I'm going to talk about Light. Or you were done, right?
I'm done.
I'm just cutting you off. Like, all right.
Well, now I'm done. No.
I'm just sorry.
Go.
So I read Light Kissed and Shadow Divide, the Grimwell Legacies, book 1 and 2. So book 1 had already been released. By the time this airs, book 2 will be released. It released October 31st. I was lucky enough to get an ARC.
Lucky you.
It was really cool. And it's by D.V. Lee. And it's a fantasy romance. Light Kissed is 297 pages, and Shadow Divide was 279 pages. So I'm going to give the synopsis of both, and then I'll get into it. So Light Kissed says, people disappearing into walls, a mysterious stranger, the pull of the dream realm. 2 years after the death of their mother, Blair and Holly Grimwell are just starting to feel like they have their lives on track. They do, after all, have each other, and the two have more than just Blair's birthday to celebrate at a new local club. Griffin is a protector sent by the Masters of the Guild to protect the most powerful bloodline of witches in all the realms. As a guardian, he is very specifically not supposed to fall in love with his ward. But when Cain, a powerful incubus demon from the dream realm, comes to claim Blair and the legacy of her Grimwell powers, nothing goes as planned. So, I'm going to read, I'm going to read the synopsis for the second one, and then I'm just going to kind of give a generalized what I liked about the books in general.
Okay.
And what I wasn't a fan of. So Shadow Divide, and it's not going to really give anything away. This is a synopsis you can read anywhere, so it's not really giving anything away. I don't want people to think
We're still spoiler free.
Yeah. Blair Grimwell survived the clutches of her incubus captor, the demon Cain. Now back in the arms of her fiercely loyal protector Griffin, Blair is pregnant with Cain's child. But Blair's freedom came at a price, and the rulers of the Fey realm have come to collect on the debt. In her desperation to save her sister, Holly promised the king and queen something only she could provide, a Fey high priestess from the powerful line of Grimwell witches. As she trains with the handsome and mysterious Draven, Holly begins to master her powers. As her powers grow, so does the darkness in her soul. While Blair obsesses over finding a way to open a portal to the Fey realm to bring her sister home, Holly learns that her sister has born a child who carries with him the power of prophecy. So even though in the beginning it does kind of give you an idea of what's going to happen, there's a lot to unpack in the book. So don't think like, oh, well, I know what happened. No, read them if you want. But yeah. So I really liked the story about the sisters, learning about their past, learning about their gifts. It was all very exciting. The way the author introduced us to their powers and secrets that their mother kept from them and why was really good. I like that you get that like detail in it. Sometimes things happen so abruptly and you're like, well, why? Well, what? And at first it kind of seems that way, but you do get plenty of explanation on the what and why, and I appreciate that. It helps keep you interested in the story, and it kept my interest from the start. I enjoyed reading it, the character development, the world building. It was really cool. The way I imagined the realms and stuff was really awesome. So it was clear and cut, and there it was, and I love that when you can like see everything. There was some twists and turns. I am a fan of when something happens you didn't really see it coming. That happens in this book, and you're like, oh shit, and then that's always exciting. And the details were great. So I have mentioned in other reviews in the past that I have a very like happy medium. I don't want too much and I don't want too little, and this book met the mark on that for sure.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a good amount to where it wasn't like overly done, and then it wasn't too little to where it's like, well, what's going, I want to see. So she did really good with that, and she's a brand new author. I mean, this was the first book. Like Kissed, I believe, was her first published book, and then the one I just received, Shadow Divide, was her third published book. So she's brand new, and
wow,
she'll flourish. Like she's gonna do great.
Oh yeah.
So, things I wasn't a fan of. So not so much a dislike, but I'd recommend. Well, I'd love a prequel. So I did want more of Griffin's story. That's the only story I'm like, ooh, like I really want to know about, because you find out that, he's sent to watch Blair. It explains that in the synopsis, and he does get feelings for her, obviously. And I would love to read that. I would love to read like them sending him watching her and slowly like developing. Like I would like a story on that. I think it'd be really cool. And watching maybe sometimes her powers did like show, and he had I just think it'd be a cool story to like follow him on that journey that happened prior
get his
to the first
POV
book beginning. I think it would be really cool. And I'm not the only one who thinks that, because when she was on TikTok Live, we were chatting. I was, texting, but right. I told her that, and she said I'm not the first person to mention that, and that she's actually considering it. So I hope she does, because I would definitely read that. So another thing is, I want to preface this by saying this is a strictly a me thing.
Yeah, it's your.
It's just the thing I'm not a fan of. Action words like bang and whack and whatever. I'm not a real big fan. I'd rather have like an explanation. And I mean, I know. Like I'll see it in my head. I don't know. It kind of takes me out of the story a little bit. So I prefer like just say, I mean, she explained what the actions were. And I think that's just for like extra effect. That's just very personal. I'm just not a fan of it. So when I read that, I was like, oh, I don't know, it kind of it takes me out of the story. I can't really describe. I'm not a big fan of the action words. And then one other thing is she does not use a lot of profanity at all in her books, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
The only thing I had an issue with was like, and there was some spicy scenes. They were written well, they were good, but the word like buttocks, like to me, that's like clinical, and I don't really hear people just say that. Like that's not a
right
word people just use, you know. So for me, it was something that just took me out of the story. Like if it was butt or bottom or whatever, that's fine. Because that's
it doesn't need to be ass.
Yeah, it doesn't. And like I noticed that there's not like cussing in her book, which is perfectly fine. I'm not saying you need to cuss. Like no, but buttocks was just a little weird. I'm like, because I just feel like it didn't even fit the language in the book. Like maybe if this story and how they spoke, it could make sense. It didn't. And to me, again, it's very personal. Right. It's just my thing. So again, they're just very little minor me things. So as far as recommending the book, if you are new to fantasy, especially, this is great because it's easy to read. It's fun. It's exciting. There's spice. There's all kinds of stuff going on in it, but it's not confusing. So if you're new to fantasy, I am newer, and I like when things are easy because fantasy can be very all over the place and
it can be very
confusing
too.
And pretentious. Like, oh, you don't get that. None of that going on. That going on. It's just a good solid book. Also, I'm gonna give a shout out to D.V. Lee because I've like bugged her since day one. She likes like I make little like TikTok aesthetics, like little trailers for the book, if you will, and she always gives me a shout out, and she's awesome. We're hoping to have her on the show. I'm really hoping we can get her on here. She was down, but I know she's a busy woman. So I'm going to get in contact with her. We will figure that out because I do think she's going to blow up. So it's like, let's get her on here.
Yeah, I think she would be great for like Thirsty for sure.
Yeah. And also a fun conversation we could have is she does all her artwork. And I will say, look at the covers of these books because I was looking stunning. At them. They're beautiful. And I'm like, dang, she did all that. So she's doing it all herself.
I need
props.
I need to know how.
And she's a complete sweetheart. She's like so
down to earth,
and normal. And
I wasn't on the live, but I do see her TikToks, and like she just seems so like thankful.
Yeah, she is, and real, and I love her. Give her a look. Go look her up at. She's on TikTok and Instagram. I think she's the most active on TikTok. I've noticed.
I think so.
Yeah, she's great. I give her book Light Kissed. I gave that one 3 stars, and Shadow Divide 3.5. Shadow Divide was really good.
But we also need to put in the conversation that smutty books, things that have like explicit material, probably aren't going to be very highly rated for us, and that's just us. It's not that it's a bad book. It's just that we don't typically rate explicit smutty books 5 stars.
No, okay. I never have. I've given out like I can count on one hand how many 5 stars. I'm very
picky,
stingy with my 5-star reads. These are good books. 3 is good.
3 is good for us, yes.
And 3.5 is even better. It's like right there. And I mean, man, this is her first and third book she's published. Like, hell yeah.
Right.
Like, that's great. Especially because we don't grade easily. We're not just, there's a lot of people who just give everyone,
5
and I'm
stars.
like, no, I want to be real. Like, I'm going to tell you. And again, it's my opinion. So, you don't have to do what I want. That's just me, and, she's great. Her books were great. I loved them. And then I gave Light Kiss 2 Spice.
Ooh,
and it does. And then Shadow Divide, I gave it 3.
Okay.
And it's good. The scenes are pretty good. And then, one eye roll for buttocks. Sorry, D.V. Lee. I couldn't with that. But I love you.
I love you.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, they were both really good reads, and I do recommend them.
So I wanted to kind of add a new thing. I realize I add new things all the time, but have you seen the If I Was a Worm, Would You Still Love Me TikToks?
I did finally.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the female main character turned into a worm, would the male main character still love her?
Blair, yes. Holly, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I am onto my 4 stars. The first book I actually read this month was Bone Set and Feathers by Gwendolyn Kist. It is horror, is 172 pages. It was a Kindle. It's not Kindle Unlimited, but I did read the ebook. It is a story about magic, witches, and revenge. It is set in a world where witchfinders hunt down those with magic and execute them. Our heroine, Odette, is a witch that survived the last round of executions that the witchfinders brought to her town, including that of her family. To save herself and the town, she has exiled herself to the nearby woods, renouncing her magic and only coming to town when absolutely necessary. Nearly 5 years later, birds start tumbling out of the clouds, voices haunt her, and a group of strange children follow her. Although she tries to forget her magic, it does not forget her. All the while, her former friends, those that have left her behind, sneer at her very presence, believing that she is to blame for the witchfinders and the birds falling from the sky. Okay. I know. The first 2 books I read this month were about birds for some reason. I don't know. But what I really liked about this is the atmosphere and the prose that Gwendolyn Kist, the author, uses is very beautiful and captivating. We get a glimpse into the beauty and danger that exists in this world. And I really liked the themes of loss, survival, and like the weight of like familial legacy, basically. I found the characters pretty richly developed, and Odette's internal struggle was always very relatable. Because like, definitely, what is that called when you have like, when you don't think you're good enough ever?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's fine. It's like there's a story of like Neil Gaiman going to there is a word for it. There's a story of Neil Gaiman going to this party, and he's like, why am I here? And then Neil Armstrong is actually there, and they're like, I have no idea why I'm here. And it's like, dude, you're Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be here?
Right.
That idea. But what didn't work for me is that I did find the beginning of the book kind of confusing. Like, it was very jumbled, and like you're not entirely sure what's going on other than birds falling from the sky. Like, that you get, but then you don't know who she is, why these people hate her, like all of this stuff. I mean, if you read the synopsis, you're going to get it, but right. I don't always read the synopsises before I read books, because I feel like it's like a fun, like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah, when you're going into it like blind.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I mean, it's fine. Like, it's 172 pages, so I'm sure there's like only enough room. Yeah, there probably wasn't enough room to like fully develop, maybe. But
yeah,
for me personally, I would have preferred a little more development of like, I don't know what's going on in the very beginning, at least.
Yeah, like the why.
Right. It did remind me a little bit of We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. That was also kind of a confusing book to get into, but once you once you start going, it's pretty well done, you know.
Yeah, just the beginning, you're kind of like, what?
Why? Why do people hate you? Yeah.
Wait, I want to know why.
So this one was 4 stars, no spice, no eye rolls. I would recommend it if you are trying to get more into the cozy horror, folk horror, which I am just now discovering is a thing, and like that is my genre. I love folk horror.
Yeah.
If it happens in West Virginia, I'm gonna read it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny. Brothers in West Virginia.
See?
It's not folk horror, but you know, it's a kind of horror.
It kind of is, though, because it's very like familial based, right?
It is.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But I'll get there. That. I'm just kind of. I know I need to read it because Anya Albert. We'll talk about it.
We'll get into that. Let me not.
Yeah.
All right.
The next one that is 4 stars was Dark Harvest. It is by Norman Partridge. Jeez Louise. It is horror, 169 pages, and this one was read to me. This is an audiobook as well.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry to do this. I'm gonna interrupt you, but the cover for this book is so amazing.
I love it.
Every time I saw it, Barnes. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but
No,
I saw it at Barnes
go
and Nobles,
ahead.
and I've seen it on Goodreads, and I've seen it, and I'm like, God, I don't know what, and it's nothing like. It's just amazing. It's just, I don't know, something about it.
No,
it's the first thing. Like, I looked at the shelf of horror,
Mhm.
and I immediately was drawn to that one.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one and Slewfoot. But yeah,
you need to get Slewfoot, by the way.
I need to I saw it there too, and I'm like, no, I will get it because I want to get like all of his books because they have art.
They're so pretty.
And they're freaking cool. But anyways, I just wanted to say that if you're listening to this, even if you're like, oh, it's not really my vibe, look at the cover because it's
look
so
at the
cool.
cover. I think that's what
so
gets
cool.
me, right?
Yeah.
I used to pick out wine that way too. Before, when I could actually drink, I would pick out wine based on the label. I definitely pick out books based on the cover.
It's a beautiful, beautiful cover.
That book Hex had a really cool cover.
It did.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I DNF'd it like 10% in, FYI.
Oof. Yeah, I know. You were telling me. Which is just a shame.
It really is.
Dark Harvest cover is better.
Yeah, just look at it. Hey, guess what? It's also a film, but I'll get into that too.
Ooh, okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
I had to say it. It's freaking awesome. But
very short book. Halloween, 1963. They call him the October Boy or Sawtooth Jack. Whatever the name, everybody in this small Midwestern town knows who he is, and so do you. He rises from the cornfields every Halloween, a butcher knife in his hand, and makes his way toward town, where gangs of teenage boys eagerly await their chance to confront the legendary nightmare. Both the hunter and the hunted, the October Boy is the prize in an annual rite of life and death. What I liked about this, again, people in the Goodreads reviews did not like this, but I liked it because it's unique. It was told through like the second person perspective, so like chapter, I want to say, and it was in the book or in the movie too, and it made me smile. It's like a Midwestern town in the 1963s. The town because you grew up there, so like it instantly brings you into the story, like you are part of this story, which I think is so cool. But it gave some people the ick. I'm like, dude, please.
What? That's
I know.
Fun.
The descriptive words really got to me. Like, for example, when he is cutting, the dude that brings down October Boy also has to cut his face. So he is pumpkin, like he is a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
And the description of the process of cutting his face was, oh my god, so good.
Ooh.
Again, like it's not necessarily anything that did not work for me or like I didn't like. It was just more it is what it is, right? Like it's a short book, it's a spooky book. It's very surface level. It's very uniquely written, but it didn't have the brain movie that I look for 5 stars, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's a 4-star. This is my 4-star.
It was pretty quick. A pretty quick one too.
It was very quick.
Yeah.
And I did watch the movie. I watched it last night. It was good enough, but I preferred how the storyline of the book much more than the storyline of the movie. The movie, I feel like, was trying to like sensationalize it, whereas like the book was, oh shit. Dang. So
right.
Keep that in mind.
Is the movie called Dark Harvest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't know if
it's on. I rented it on Amazon.
Okay.
Oh, cool, Starvaker.
Oh.
It's supposed going back to Starvaker because this is what I do. It was supposed to, or it is a film. It was premiered at the London Film Festival or whatever it's called. So it should be released at some point soon. But it has Matt Smith as the main character, which you know him as the Targaryen in the dragon part, but I know him as Doctor Who. And that's why I love him. Yes.
The dragon part.
The dragon one. The one that I didn't watch.
Game of Thrones?
I watched Game of Thrones. I didn't watch the Targaryen.
Oh, the new one. Yeah. Dragon. I watched most of the first season and I didn't like it. So, yeah. But okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
though,
I love him. I know a lot of people are like, he's kind of, gangly and gross looking, but I have a thing for him.
That's awesome. So that will be, you don't know when though?
Absolutely. I've been looking at it every single day.
Oh my God. That's awesome. So
I know.
Wow.
So when it does become
the book justice.
Yeah, we'll have to like a thirsty we'll have to do like books versus film at
Movies.
some point.
Yeah.
Movie, film, whatever. I'm being pretentious with my film.
Oh yeah, your films.
Films.
No, it's okay. But yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, that would be it'd be a really good subject because there's some books and movies I could go on about that.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. Cool. So Bird Eater, huh?
Yeah, Bird Eater, which is a horror. It is 290 pages. It is Kindle Unlimited, and it does have the free audio. This was our buddy book for the month.
Yay.
20 years ago, the mysterious death of his aunt left Aaron Holbrook orphaned and alone. He abandoned his rural Arkansas hometown, vowing never to return until his 7-year-old son died in an accident, plunging Aaron into a nightmare of addiction and grief. Desperate to reclaim a piece of himself, he returns to the hills of his childhood, the Holbrook house, where he hopes to find peace among the memories of his youth. But solace doesn't come easy. Someone or something has other plans. Like Aaron, Holbrook House is the shell of what it once was. A target for vandals and ghost hunters who have nicknamed it the Devil's Den. Aaron doesn't believe in the paranormal, at least not until a strange boy begins following him everywhere he goes. Plagued by violent dreams and disturbing visions, Aaron begins to wonder if he's losing his mind. But a festering darkness lurks at the heart of Holbrook House. A darkness that grins from within the shadows, delighting in Aaron's sorrow, biding his time. It was good.
It was good. I liked it. I have my things that we'll get into that. But
again, we're very picky.
Yeah. So I enjoyed most of this book. It is very unsettling, which I like that. So it gave me the creeps, which is pretty hard that's hard
for you
to give. Yeah, I don't get creeped out easily. So the fact that it gave me the creeps says a lot. I wouldn't say it's like an all-out horror though. But it does give you like the spooks for sure. The first chapter is just wild. Like,
oh yeah.
Crazy. And then it does slow down, not in a bad way. It is kind of a slow burn, but it's a lot of buildup. So it's not that it's boring. It's just it's a little bit of a slow burn, not in a bad way though. I don't want that to seem
No,
like
I see what you mean. Like it takes a while to get to what's happening.
Right. And you slowly see the signs of insanity creeping in, which is very unsettling. Like you see it slowly start to happen. And
this could happen to me.
Yeah. Not the best feeling.
No.
Anya Alborn, like, she has a way with words. She's really good at like making you feel for the characters, making you get deep into the story. And I just appreciate all of that because she's an amazing author. Just the way she describes things is just amazing.
Yeah.
And the characters, even like, so when I read, I do read the words out loud in my head. So yeah. I think that's another reason why I'm a really slow reader. Like I hear it in my head. I don't know if everyone does that. I don't think so.
I do that.
Yeah. So they even had like accents and voices. Like that's so, I'm usually just reading the words and I'm not really, I don't know, I'm just reading it and it's me. But with her writing is so good that it actually like, I mean, everything, even that, like I can hear the accents and everything. And it's funny because I don't know, that doesn't happen to me very often. So I like learning about the characters too. So there'll be times when you're like reading about someone and then it'll like cut to a story about their past and their background. And that's what ultimately is going to give you the climax of the story, which is wild. But she did this, Anya Alborn did this without it being confusing, which I really like because sometimes when you're learning about multiple characters like that, it can be hard to follow. I had no trouble following this at all, though. I can't imagine that's easy for an author to do, to make it just so seamless, like and effortless, going from one person to another. And people who didn't even have like huge parts in the story, but they knew about something that you needed to know about as the reader. She was just really good at like doing that.
Yeah.
And not being confusing, because I can get easily confused. So it was brilliant the way she did that.
Yes.
The very end is insane, and I'm not going to give it away. I will say I didn't see it coming. There was a twist. That's not what I'm talking about. There's a shocking reveal, and I did not see that coming. The twists, those happen, but the end, I was just like, oh my god, no. So good book.
Yeah,
that's what I liked. So what did you like about it?
I also like the way she writes is very the way that I like my authors to write. It's very description based, very like simile, figurative, all of that fun stuff. For like, you remember the description of the smiling statue and how like it, regardless, like they burnt it and it was still smiling. Like that in itself was so creepy.
Yeah, it's super eerie.
But the rest of what you liked, I definitely agree with. She has a way with like creating characters that make like, well, I would say make sense, but one of my dislikes is one of the characters. But you understand like the struggle that the main character is going through. You like, they're very what's the word for like sentimental? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get really attached to these characters because you feel like these characters, I guess.
Yeah, like they're real. Yeah, it's almost like
So I wanted to talk about the ending with you because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but it kind of had a similar ending to Seed. So I was wondering if like this is just like she has a format that she follows. Is that it's not.
No, because Brother was very cut and dry.
There's no like.
There's no question. That's what this happened.
This happened. The end.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. I actually I've only read 2 of her books, but I like that. I like that one the best so far. But no, it's very there's no mystery.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know with Seed there kind of is, right?
Yes.
Well,
kind of like you understand what's going on, but you want to know like more, I guess.
Okay.
Without spoiling anything. Jeez. I'm trying not to.
No. Well, like my can I go on?
Yeah.
To my dislikes. Okay. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I really like I said, I really like this book, but there was some unanswered questions. So, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want to give any details away about anything. But it's a big part of the story, and it doesn't really make sense because there's no explanation to why a certain something was such a big part of the story. And I don't want to say what it is because then you're going to be like, it's going to kind of give.
Well, then why am I going
to
read it?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it does make you wonder why it's such like an integral part of the story if it's not really explained. But I don't know. Are you supposed to? I mean, there is a level of insanity at play, and there are things we are as the readers just may not understand. I don't know. That's the only thing I can really think of. Also, I see you're going to mention this. Yeah, the ghost hunter thing was a little annoying.
I didn't understand.
Why don't you? Because I understood your gripe with this, so you could go ahead and talk about that because I'm with you.
Yeah. One of the best friend, he like is the head of like the paranormal chapter in Arkansas, and like I didn't understand why you would make him like a ghost hunter if you weren't going to use that in the story. It's like like storytelling, right? Like you don't put something in there unless there's a reason for it.
It's like sleepwalking in Verity. Why?
Right.
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like
it is weird because and then this house is like known to be haunted. You don't have like a freaking like thick ass file
or like the internet
something. It was weird. And then him even questioning some of the stuff was like, well, why are you
I thought you believed in this.
I forgot this and that when he's on his way. I'm not going to say, but when he's on his way to the house.
Yeah.
How do you forget that shit?
So
you're the leader of naps. No, that was funny.
It is funny.
Read the book. You
get
it. Yeah.
Not to bring up Starve Acre again, but Starve Acre's ending was very abrupt and like confusing, but to the point where like not confusing. It was just like very shocking, I guess.
Right.
Going to the Bird Eater, like they're so separate because like with Starve Acre, you kind of get the sense of what like is coming based on like people's behavior. And like I was listening to the audiobook, right? I paused it and I was like, oh, there's only 5 minutes left. I'm like, wait, there's only 5 minutes left? Whereas like with the Bird Eater, it was like, wait, no.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And then I started asking a lot of whys. Well, but why?
Yeah. Then you go back to like, okay, this character was this. Why? This character, did they or what?
Yeah. Yeah. I had the same thing. But it's weird that
and we read it separately.
Liked it.
Yeah, I still
liked it. It's weird that because usually when that's a thing, I usually don't like it. I'm like, But this book was, she just writes so freaking well. You can't like not like it, I think is what a lot of it is.
I'm a fan of Anya Alburn. Definitely have to read more of her books. I feel like a lot of them do happen, in the South, which is, I don't know why, like Southern Gothic horror, folk horror, Appalachia. There's something like, obviously it's very spooky. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, why would you live there? I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not. Because it is creepy. Because all the books I read. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm sure it's beautiful and everything, but creepy too.
We gotta make like an Arizona
populated areas. That's not a populated area. So I think that's what another thing that makes it kind of like, ooh, like I got things all around. I'm not scared.
Well, in Appalachia definitely has more of like a folk stories to it too, like the whole like don't go outside at night or don't look outside while your lights are on, don't whistle at night. Like
there's so much folklore there. Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Probably.
Yeah. Recommending this book, I'm gonna say I think it's a good introduction to horror.
Yeah.
Because it's not, there's gore, but it's not crazy.
No,
it's not. And it's spooky, but it's not like over the top. It gives me. It's not so much scary as it is like creepy. It gives me the freaking.
You
creeps.
Get unsettled.
Very much so. And if you guys want, go check out. So, Bekk did a.
Oh yeah, my fan art.
It's perfect. I was like, oh my. And so I saw his creepy ass, like every time I was reading about him. She does, it's on TikTok. It's on your Instagram too, right? Yeah. Oh man, go check it out. It's perfect. And if you read the book.
Did you see?
You're going to see it. Yes.
No, did you see the Easter egg I put in it?
No.
Oh, I don't want to ruin anything.
Don't tell me. I'll look at it again.
Okay.
I'll look at it again. It's creepy as shit. I enjoy the book overall. It does have some elements of drama as well. I will say, though, there is a lot of grief in this book. So if you read it, make sure you're in a good headspace. It does deal with themes that are heartbreaking. It does deal with, the
loss of a child,
suicide, things like that.
Divorce.
Mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any like struggles and you think this might put you in a bad headspace, don't read it. Wait until you're in a better place in your life, because it is pretty it's sad reading that. You feel for the main character for sure. I did enjoy Brother more. Now Brother is a lot more that's for a seasoned horror gore reader. Not that it's like purely shock like another book I'll talk about later, but it's she's not excited to hear
I am not.
But Brother is really well written, and like even though it has all that in it, it's just it's Anya Alborn, so
you're right.
It's so good. But overall, I gave it 3.5 stars.
Yeah,
I gave it 1 spice. It's like a pinch of spice. It's not really that much. And then an eye roll for the best friend, Eric. Not a
Yeah,
fan
same.
of that particular. Actually, he kind of pissed me off a couple times, but I'll give him 1 eye roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eye roll for Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. Same star rating, 3.5, maybe 4. I did enjoy Seed more by Anya Alburn, so keep that in mind as well. So yeah. Buddy read.
Yeah. It's a good one. It was a good one. So you're going to talk about Stolen Tongues, which is on my TBR, so I can't wait to hear about it.
Oh. Okay. It's a 3-star.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So it's Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. It is a horror. It is 320 pages, also on Kindle Unlimited, so plus for that. Faye and Felix's romantic cabin getaway on the wind-swept hills of Pale Peak, oh my goodness, takes a dark turn when they are disturbed by a chorus of ghastly noises. The screams of animals, the cries of children, and the mad babble of 100 mournful voices fill the air. As the weather turns deadly, Felix discovers that Faye is not only mumbling in her sleep, but she's also whispering back to the dark figure that looms near their window at night.
Sounds amazing.
So, yes, the prologue and the first couple of chapters were so good, like spine tingling good. Like you are unsettled for the first couple of like chapters. And I would recommend reading the prologue. Do you read the prologues of?
Usually not.
Oh, I usually do.
I usually don't because I feel like it's going to give shit away.
Well, I also feel like why not just make it chapter 1?
It does like set up the story, so I will usually read it after I'm done, which sounds weird, but that's just my preference.
Yeah. Well, in this one, I think you want to read it before because they do mention Parrot the Carrot or Carrot the Parrot.
Parrot the Carrot.
Yeah. At some point later on in the story, they mention what happened, so it is actually a prologue.
Okay.
Descriptions of things that happen and the things that exist, like the monsters, the thing, were very well done. I was creeped out on several of the passages. I thought, okay, as somebody that grew up in South Dakota, we do have a rather large Native American population, indigenous population. I felt like it was a nice head nod to Native culture. Something a white person should have done, you know?
Okay, yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Also, a unique, because I like unique, right? A unique part of this book is that the author's name is the main character's name. So while I was reading it, they were talking about Felix. I'm like, okay, well, that's probably just Quinky Dink, right? But it's like, Mr. Blackwell, I wanted to talk to you. And it's like, oh, he's the main character.
That's pretty cool.
Right?
That's fun.
What I didn't like was that it was like way too long. Maybe that's just because I was reading like 170 page books for the first couple of or like I don't know, it felt like it was just like monotonous, like this happens over and over and over and over again.
No, I can see that.
Like it was very repetitive. But it didn't, like, for it being so long, it didn't answer all the questions that it posed. Like a lot of our complaints so far have been like, but why? Like, why would you bring this up if it doesn't matter? I could also tell that at some point it was a Reddit, like a creepypasta, just based on just based on how it was written. Personally, like, it was okay. So usually stories that are Reddit, it's you get from one point to the other by like and then. So this happened and then this happened. With good stories. It's this happened, therefore this happened, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So this was a lot of and then.
Okay.
So it just kind of read like an extremely long Reddit post to me, personally.
Yeah.
But 3 stars. It's in my 3-star category here. No spice. 2 eye rolls for kind of the dialogue back and forth. Like I didn't love the main characters, like their relationship dynamic, how they talk to each other. Personally, it felt very like I don't know, forced almost.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's a popular book talk choice. It again ranks against Brother, Seed, Womb. So if you're interested, it's on Kindle Unlimited. You can read it. But again, would prefer you to read Seed or Brother.
Yeah, even Womb. I
Even
like
Womb. Yeah, they're all on Kindle Unlimited. So
it's gross, but actually, I like that. I like that story. It's pretty good.
It was very gross, but
yeah, but it was. It was well written.
Yeah,
it was how it all kind of unfolds.
It has a very like Polonic way of being written.
Yeah. I liked Womb, even though it's weird saying I liked it, but I did.
I liked it. So 3 stars, no spice, 2 eye rolls.
Okay, cool.
So you'll notice that I read a lot of horror this month because it's the spooky month. So I kind of wanted to give myself like a break. So I read Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. It is a contemporary romance, and it is 330 pages. This was a big boy too. It is the story of Lark, a Texan cartoonist who moves to Ireland, and her Undertaker neighbor Callum, who has a deadline to meet. He has to marry someone before his 35th birthday, otherwise he loses the family business. For reasons that are in the book, Lark is unwilling to be this person, so she sets him up on dates. She moves to Ireland, so I really liked that. Like, I like... I'm a Hoosier girly, so, like, of course I like Ireland, but I enjoyed the setting of Galway and the descriptions of Irish culture, the scenery. I actually did get, like, his accent pulled through while I was reading the dialogue. So that was fun.
I love that. Yeah.
I get the feelings. Like, you read romance to get, like, feelings, right? Like, that's the whole reason we read them.
For sure.
They didn't fall in love too quickly, but like it was believable in the way that they did.
Okay.
The writing style, obviously contemporary romance hallmark. It was very simple and easy to read. Again, it's a romance, so we don't always rate romance novels the highest. So it's 3 stars. No. And I think I figured out why romances aren't always going to be 5 stars for us. I think it's because, like, they're always going to be cliched, right? They're always going to follow a trope and a cliche. So it's just probably not unique enough for us because it's going to follow a template. It's like they meet, they fall in love, they bang, and then there's like conflict, and then they get a happily ever after sometimes.
Right. Yeah. I do enjoy something that's a little different. And romance is gonna typically be that way.
Yeah.
And I get why. Like, and it's not that they're. I keep on reading them.
You read a romance to get that, right? That's why you read it.
Yeah. But I do like reading something that's a little different, and most of my 5-star reads are they're a different story to tell. So that's
right.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
And that's just what it is, right? Like, it is what it is. We read romance novels to read romance novels. We want the feelings. We want to know exactly what we're getting into. That's actually why I read a romance this month, is because I wanted to, like, take a break from my mental health and read a romance novel.
I didn't do that.
Should have.
No, I'm good.
Oh, also, please, like, don't cuddle a man that you want to be friends with and you're trying to set up on dates. They cuddled so many times. I was so mad. Yeah, like, dude. And she's like, I hope I can still be friends with him after he finds a wife. I'm like, dude, you've been cuddling with this man.
Yeah. Cuddle and friends are not a thing.
No,
you don't cuddle with your friends. Just don't.
Okay, so he would love her if she was still a worm, or if she turned into a worm.
Oh.
And
that's good.
Love the name Callum for a male main character. I also really like the name Griffin. That should probably be like a thirsty
I've seen Griffin a couple times and I'm like, ooh,
Griffin.
I really like it. It's just
We're gonna
man name.
we're gonna make a TikTok, and it's gonna be ranking male main character names. We should do that.
Ooh, we should. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, 3 stars, 2 spices, 2 eye rolls. Read it. It's good. It's just
Not great.
Good, not great.
There it is.
It's a romance.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure.
Oh no!
My next book was not a romance.
Are you sure? Because there's a second book called Son of Slob.
I mean, so I read The Slob by Aaron Beauregard, and it is a splatterpunk book, 146 pages. Trigger warning. All of the gore.
All of it. All the warnings.
All of them. If you even have a question that you are going to have an issue with extreme body gore and violence, this isn't it. And that's okay, because it's not for everyone. Okay.
I wish you could see my face right now.
You can go check out the cover. There's art in the book too. That's fun. So the synopsis is some stains don't come out. Raised in a household that was so filthy it was stomach spilling, Vera has become a neat freak. Her obsession with cleanliness sprouts the concept that her skills can be put to use in a unique way. In an effort to generate some income for her and her disabled husband Daniel just prior to the birth of their first child, she takes aim at the booming door-to-door sales business of the late 80s. All is going well until she arrives at the steps of a house she wished she never had. The steps of an evil that brings back the ghastly memories she so desperately tried to wash away. Nothing will prepare you for the nastiness, disorder, and uncleansable horror brought forth by the slob. Boom, boom, boom. So it's so disgusting. I didn't do likes and dislikes, just an in general kind of.
How would you like anything?
Right. I mean, it's not a bet. I'll get into it. So I did say I will forego what I liked and disliked. I'm just going to say this book is repulsive and it's disgusting, and my curiosity kept me turning the pages. So poor Vera. You really feel for her. So you're in her mind as everything is happening, and it is just fucking awful. You get her backstory, which helps the story along, and her upbringing and the trauma she's been through. Oh gosh, it just stirs up emotions as you're experiencing like this hell with her, because it's just she's just been through it. Like it starts from when she was a kid. So when she's a kid, I will say a little bit about this real quick. So when she was a kid, she thought her house was normal, and it's a hoarder house, like really bad, extreme hoarder house. And she thought it was normal. And then she went to a friend's birthday party, and that's when she kind of realized
not everybody lives this way.
Not normal. And then it talks about the first time she felt shame was when she opened her lunch, and inside of her sandwich baggie there was a cockroach. And she was like in kindergarten. So you do feel for her. So she ends up being it all makes sense why kind of she is the way she is. But The Slob is, what did I wrote? Oh, I'm sorry. It's repulsive, and it's one of the books that made me like curse at my all too vivid imagination. Because some of the things, I made one of those little TikToks, and 3 things I will never see the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, it's a vacuum cleaner, it's some dumbbells, and a meat grinder.
Our best TikTok by far, by the way.
Like
I hate it.
Over 5,000 views. What? I remember I'm like, I don't even know if I should post this because this book. And I'm like, I'll just do it. I remember telling you like, I'm just doing it at this time because, and then it ended up being that's insane. But I can't really say much about the book because it's really truly shocking and grotesque from like beginning to end.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was getting into. Didn't hate the book. The author definitely did what he was trying to do. And would I read it again? No. I generally only read books once anyways, but if I'm going to read a book a second time, it's not going to be splatterpunk. That's kind of a one and done genre for me.
As it should be.
It wasn't, if you like splatterpunk, sure. Like I would recommend this only to people who are well seasoned in that genre. And extreme like body gore fans. It's, if you're new to the genre and your curiosity is killing the cat, please ease yourself into the genre. This is not something to start off with.
Mm-mm.
I would say if you know, and knowing you're going after body horror and gore, Brother's not bad to start off with. This is very shocking, and that's what it's for. It's not. That's what it's for. That's why
it's just a shock. Yeah.
And it did what it was supposed to do. I've always loved horror and gore and things like that. But like I said, it's not for everyone, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 2.5 stars. It's not going to be high because
of what it is.
Well, it's not even that. It's just it's being written purely to like shock you, and it did. But is it like this epic story? No. Like, it's gross. I do not like to say there's spice in these in these kind of books, because spice is like insinuating a good thing. So instead I will just say there are a few disturbing sexually explicit scenes. I will say that. And it's not a happy book, so you know.
All right.
You know, those things. Those things. It was insane. It was a wild book.
Yeah, I don't.
It's so short and just like, oh,
the whole time.
But I mean, I was making the face. Like, I know you were telling me to do like one of those, like where I record myself.
Yeah.
I don't like recording myself, but
at some point we might be comfortable.
Maybe one of these days. But I was making a face like the entire book. It was just so foul. Not as bad as Dead Inside. Nothing will beat that. I'm gonna say that every time.
As far as you know.
Oh,
you might. Yeah.
I need to read part 2. Son of the Slob.
Oh, I was like, there's a part 2 of.
Yeah, because of the disturbing sexually explicit scenes. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
My friend Rachel was like, horrific. Are you going to read it? I'm like, A, I didn't read it. B, no.
It's, yeah, you wouldn't be a fan. Now, I'm honest with you. I think even though Brother is kind of rough, I think you would like that.
Oh, okay.
It's rough, but it's not shock.
What about?
I mean, well, it is shocking, but
what about Worms? What is the actual title? Or
the Troop?
The Troop, yeah.
Oh, my daughter's gonna read that.
Oh, okay. So
you can read that. That's no. It's Womb is worse. You know.
Oh, okay.
Worms is not really.
I just don't like Worms. What it's called. It's not
the Troop. That's Jeff's fault.
It is.
My brother dubbed it Worms, and that's what we call it.
You gonna read Worms? No.
No. You can read that, and that is a. I want to know. I want you to read that one because I really like that book.
Yeah, I need to plan the books that I'm reading better because like I just keep putting it off. Where I'm like, oh, I'll read it.
Yeah,
but
I want to read The Deep too. That's Nick Cutter as well. I want to read that one too because I really liked it. It has mixed reviews. Some people don't like The Troop though. So
well,
I loved it.
Look at that.
So, yeah, went weird, right? Okay. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about the Slob. Again, I can't really get into it because it's graphic, and I mean, I'm not going to talk about those things.
I feel really weird going to a romance novel after that, but here we are. I'm only going to review. Okay, so I'm on to my 1-star reviews. This is what everybody's stayed for, I'm sure. I'm only going to review Jinx because I already did Awkward in October on Goodreads. But if you're really curious, oh my god, go read it because please.
Because
like it actually, that is the first Goodreads review I have actually done that I felt like I needed to like warn people, I guess.
Can you at least say the part?
Oh, okay, so I'm actually going to spoil this because it needs to be done.
The people need to know.
The people need to know. So if you don't want the spoiler of Awkward in October, skip for like the next 10, 15 seconds. She shits herself in the first spicy scene that these two people have together. Literally shits herself. It's like, dude, I was excited because we were getting somewhere. The rest of the book is entirely it's so cringe. So I was like, okay, finally we're somewhere that I can like relax. No.
Is it the first and only?
It's the first and only like explicit. Like she'll tell you that like, oh, we did stuff, but not like what actually happens.
Like you were like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm so into this. And it's like, oh, rad.
Cool.
I finished this. Why?
Oh god, that's great.
So go read my
Sorry.
my Goodreads.
Yeah, I had to say that part because it's too funny.
Oh,
but
buddy.
anyways.
Okay. So this is Jinxed by Tori Heat. It is a it's a paranormal romance. I'm heated already. It is 269 pages. It is on Kindle Unlimited. POV. You gain an inheritance and want to spend it on making your dream come true. Opening a thrift store. You enlist the help of a realtor, but only fall in love with the first house you stop at. It's perfect. Victorian, or is it Edwardian? I don't know. Check. The staircase of your dreams. Check. The day you move in, however, you are trapped forever. But the house comes with 3 men. Not ghosts, but corporeal men that have been stuck there for quite some times. Huh.
It sounded so good.
It did.
I wanted to read it.
Okay, so I liked that it was a book that I finished. The premise was there. I'm gonna feel so bad if she listens to this. I just won't tag her. It's fine.
Well, you know what? Don't, because a lot of people like it.
Oh, so don't. Yeah,
they can have it.
They can. Yeah, go for it.
It's for them, not for us.
Yeah, the premise was there, right? Like that's the whole reason I picked it. It was like, oh, haunted house story.
Yeah.
Ooh, gonna
check.
Her writing style was all right. It got you from point A to point B. Now, to what I didn't like. I would have preferred if the boys were actual ghosts, not just dudes stuck in a house with each other. They're just stuck there. One of them has been stuck there since Edwardian times, so like 100 years. So don't market it as a ghost story or a haunted house story if it's not actually ghosts.
I heard they all like talk the same too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's no difference in their. I mean, they came from different times. You would think.
Yeah, one's from like the 70s.
That'd be like a fun thing.
And one's from the 90s. But they all talk the same. Yeah.
Cool.
Also, question. You're stuck in a house. Like you just figured out that you're going to be stuck in this house like forever. Like it's cursed. Yeah. You figured this out.
Terrifying.
How quickly would you bang one of them? Just out of curiosity.
Probably the first day.
First 30 minutes? No. Did you say?
No. It would be a while. I'd be trying to figure out how to fucking like leave. So it's formal plot.
Oh yeah, it's just like there's like, you get like, oh, it's cursed because of this, and then they all fuck at the same time. Like, I understand when you're getting into a Why Choose book that there's probably going to be group relations.
Yes.
But every single one, I think there was only 1 or 2 that were like separate. I'm like, dude, I want cuddle time.
Right. I want to cuddle.
Can we cuddle?
And
then one of the dudes, I don't know if this is spoiling it or anything, but one of the dudes is bisexual. You're telling me that they've been stuck in the house.
Oh, they all been having at it.
I'm sure they probably have. It's porn with
only
plot.
One. Yeah.
And the grammatical errors got me too. I mean, I think that happens a lot with indie authors where like, I'm not sure. Like, do they just skip the editing process? They can't, right? Like, I
don't know.
But
that's I've seen that in a few books, and it's I forget what book it was. I reread it like 10 times. I'm like, am I reading it wrong?
No, I'm the one.
And then I'm like reading it. I go, no, it's just that's wrong. They had I see typos a lot.
Yes,
is what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
yeah, because I'm not an English teacher. I'm not going to be like, oh, you used a verb here. No.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's more
it's like misspellings and sometimes like if you don't punctuate properly, it's hard to read.
Right.
Like phrasing is important kind of thing. Like
phrasing.
Yeah, punctuation matters in some cases. So yeah, I see it with some books. I don't know if it's just like I don't know.
I don't know either.
And I have it, and some indie authors, their grammar's fine, but some, you're like,
oh,
what happened here?
Or they like they flip between like first and second person. It's like, what?
Yeah, without like changing the chapter or letting you know, clarifying it in some way. I think Us Dark Few had a couple of like weird like typos in it, if I remember. I think that was the one I was reading where I was like, what the fuck? Like, it happened several times. And I mean, shit happens, like, whatever. Like, you're a new author. I don't know what it fucking takes.
Right.
But I feel like,
but doesn't Google Documents
I've seen, I mean, these are things that, like,
you don't get that little red underline.
Yeah, like, these are things that shouldn't have been missed, in my opinion.
If you're going to be a book, please.
If you're going to be a book, then you need a book.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So not the best,
huh? 1 star, 4 spice, because it maybe 5 spice, actually. You know what? Yeah, it's just poor plot. 5 eye rolls.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's so many better like paranormal romances out there that are like actually creepy and not just being, stuck in a house.
Yeah.
Like I read it because I wanted to like continue with like, the spooky season, and
I wanted to read that book's on my
bitch, you're just stuck in a house. It's not anymore.
And they're not even ghosts.
No. It's not a haunted house.
The worst.
I was so upset.
Yeah, that makes it sad.
Yeah.
All right, so this book. I read The Harbinger by Anne Marie Davis. It is a dark occult romance. It is 644 pages. This one took me a while.
Jesus Christ. That's like 3 books.
I'm going to take a drink before I read the triggers. Okay. Because there's like a paragraph. So, abduction, anal play, anxiety, assault, blood drinking, blood play, body mutilation, coercion, control, cults, death, degradation, depression, disembowelment, drowning, drugs, dubious content, eating disorder, electrocution, emotional abuse, exhibitionism, experimental medical procedures, fictitious satanic and demonic worship, forced proximity, hallucinations, history of trauma, human sacrifice, kidnapping, knife play, mental health conditions, manipulation, murder, occult, orgasm control, torture, panic attacks, parental death, poisoning, praise, primal, PTSD, sadomasochism, self-harm, sexual asphyxiation, sexual assault, spanking, spitting, starvation, Stockholm syndrome, substance abuse and addiction, suicidal ideations, attempt, threats, flashbacks, torture, and violence.
Jesus Christ, dude.
That's what was listed. So I was like, I should have probably just like picked out the big ones, but I'm like, I'm just going to read them all. I'm out of breath. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, synopsis is, what do you do when you've caught the eye of a psychopath? On the run with no memory, Mia is thrust into an evil, secret society which threatens her very existence. But they are the least of her worries. He's cunning, deadly, and desperate to possess her, not to mention the only one who can protect her if he chooses. Sacha is all wrong for her, but his darkness draws her back into his twisted web. Maybe she's mad, maybe it's the drugs, but there are a few certainties. He's trouble, she's falling for him, and their binding might burn both of their worlds to the ground. This book was wild, bro. So, with all of that being said, I did like the way the story was written. I know I always say that. I need to find like another way to say that because it seems like I just repeat it over and over, but I really did. A cool thing they did was, she is abducted by Russians and brought to Russia as an American. And when she gets there, there's a lot of sentences and there's no translation for it's written in Russian, some stuff, some dialogue. And it's not a lot because I know that sounds terrible, but it wasn't. It was really cool because it kind of puts you in her head.
Right.
Like, she didn't know what the fuck was going on. She didn't know what they were saying. So why should you as the reader know? So you're kind of trying to piece things together like with her. You don't know any extra, right? Like, you know what she knows. It does get into Sacha's POV. He has his little part here and there, but it's mostly Mia's POV. I really liked that Russian like touch, how like you're reading it and you're like, I don't even know how to say that. And then it doesn't tell you, and at first I'm like, oh god, is it good? But it's good. It's good.
Was it in Cyrillic too?
Yeah, absolutely.
You didn't use the Kindle translate option?
No, I didn't want to know, though. I'm glad I didn't. No, I wanted to keep it because she didn't know. And I don't know. It probably wouldn't give much away, I'm assuming. But I just kind of like the whole
I'm sure a lot of people
because she's talking about how she doesn't know what they're saying. And like, I know you speak English. And they're just like, too bad. So I kind of liked it. She also has a lot of memory loss. So she doesn't really know what's going on. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. She does have a lot of flashbacks, and she slowly starts to uncover her past through these flashbacks. As much as Mia frustrates the hell out of me because she does, she has, I mean, it's Stockholm syndrome, and that's a real thing.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
I get it. Yeah, yeah, right. And for good reason, too. She's been through a lot. She was addicted. She was on the streets. She has memory loss, and this rich man, although a horrible person, takes her in. And he is very manipulative. Like, one minute he's like, oh my God,
are you okay?
He's the best. And then the next minute he's just fucking the worst person in the world. And you're like, what the fuck? So a lot of that going on. So it does make sense to an extent, how she is. I'll get into a little bit of that later, but it was a messed up book, but I liked it. So it was very
you are our dark romance girly.
Yeah. It's now this, I don't want to say, God, it's not quite, it's worse than dark romance.
Oh.
Okay. It's not all sweet, I will say. I mean, you saw the trailers. It's not Stockholm syndrome. Okay. So you're not gonna, I don't like Sacha. He's a fucking horrible human being. So if you want like the
happily ever after, and if
you want like the Zaid, like he's bad, but this ain't it. This is not it. It's not like that. It's not like that. Like, you're not gonna like Sacha. Even by, I mean, I didn't even like him at the end of the book. I was like, you're still a fucking horrible human being. Whatever.
Trash.
My opinion. So it's not a very, I mean, it is, I guess, supposed to be HEA. So some of the so yeah, it's hard to explain. You'd have to read it. Some people might think it is. I don't. So I think it's kind of up for interpretation.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You may think it's good. I really don't. So what I didn't like is some of the situations that Mia was put in were a little too fucked up. There was one in particular, oh my God, towards the end of the book, and I'm like, what are you fucking doing, girl? Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I reread it and I'm like, God, like, it was really bad. There's one in particular. I could tell you if you don't want to read it later.
Yeah.
But there were some major eye rolls in the book. That's just gonna happen.
Yeah, I think
kind of books where the girl is like falling for a jacked up character, you're gonna roll your eyes. I mean, it is what it is. Some of it I can understand. Like, okay, I know why she's like that. Like, I've seen that in other books, like that Sick Love with the religious trauma. I can, because of her sheltered life, some of the things I'm eye rolling, I'm like, okay, well, she don't get it.
Right.
And she's still young. And I can, so it's the same kind of thing with this, where I can get it because of her backstory and her current story, but some of it's just too much. Where I'm like, okay, girl, come on. Like, come on. So, this book was long, and at first it was really, like, I was into it. It does get a little bit drawn out. There's tons of fucking spice in this book, and it was very repetitive. Like, okay, yeah, you're gonna do it again, okay, and you're gonna do that again.
Cool.
It kind of happened over and over and over. It was almost, I hate to say too much spice, but when it's the same thing over and over, it's kind of like, okay,
I get it.
So okay. Like, can y'all do something new? So I'm not bored. No. So I found myself skimming here and there. Not that it's a bad book. It's just, it's a little too long, maybe. I think it could have been shortened a bit. Would I recommend it? Sure. But just know there is essay and non-consent situations, which I know is hard for some people. I know you're not a fan of books that have
consent is always,
you like consent. Yeah, that's not in this. So
cool. So you can spoil it for me later.
Yeah. If you have a hard time with that, then I am going to say do not read this. But it's not a bad read. I think what I enjoyed most about it was the fact that it was different from anything I've ever read. I really like the occult aspect. worshiping Satan's and demon, and
Oh, that's
it
fun.
reminded me of that song, Asmodeus. You know,
oh,
that
the ghost song, yeah.
Lucifer. Yeah, it kept bringing up those different characters.
Yeah.
It's cool because you learn about some of them. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I actually got to the point where after I would read for the night, I was like Googling these demons to like read about them because it was interesting. It's just there's a lot of again, the essay and non-consent is pretty rough. So if you're not in not that anyone's fucking into that, but if you have a hard time reading that,
right,
then you
if
might
you
not,
have
this
like
book may not be for you.
a trigger for it.
Exactly, it might not be for you. So I do want to let that be known. But not a bad book. I gave it 3.5 stars. And it's 5 spice. So I'm surprised I even gave it that many stars.
Right.
With that much spice. Some good spice, some bad spice. Both well written though.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. 3.5 stars. That's actually not bad.
I know it's not, and it's the story was really good, and I was I mean, any book that's gonna have me like after I'm done reading for the night, I'm like, ooh, I should look up Asmodeus. No, I should look up these like I'm like, I want to learn more about this. So in that aspect, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Like just that it did that and did enough to where I'm like, oh, I want to learn more. So any book that's gonna make me do that, like it's gonna get some points for that for sure.
Yeah,
that like got me to like.
Yeah, that's kind of what I again with Star
like folklore with you, right? Yeah.
Right.
Is that how you found out about, or did you already know the thing about the homes being named?
No, that's how I figured it out. Because I was like, okay, I know that this is a thing in England because like even Pride and Prejudice, it's like called Wimberley instead of like oh my god, Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy's house is like Wimberley, right? I'm like, why?
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
So I looked it up.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's how I know a lot of things.
I like that.
Okay, so I know about bog bodies because of Hosier. Because he was talking about how one of his songs is about like it's like a reference to bog bodies, and like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you get into like the lore of like jack-o'-lanterns are part of like bogs because bogs can have like these things called wisps where like it just randomly ignites and then like, you know, you get lost. So yeah, I just that's always get thrown into like this like, I don't know, spiral of information. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just, you know what? I'm gonna look this up, and then while you're like on like the Wikipedia page, you're like, oh, I didn't know that, and so you like click open a new tab.
Just go down this fucking rabbit hole. I'm learning so much. No, but so this is cool that I don't know that it did that. It did it. It was interesting enough to where I wanted to know more about.
You should play a game. It's called Mortuary Assistant. It has demons in it. You should play it. Ooh. It's a scary game. It's a one-person game. It's not hard. Like, you don't have to like run or like kill things or like what is it called?
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, you don't have to like aim or anything. It's more like you have to discover what demon is possessing this body. And what body it is.
I'd like that.
Yeah. And it's like you were a mortuary assistant, so like you have to like go through the entire like process of embalming a body. But like while you're doing that, yeah, I think you would really like it. I'll send you like TikToks on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
I couldn't do it because I like playing games that are scary, but like other people are playing with me. So it's not just me.
Yeah. That's cool though. I'll play.
Yeah,
it. That sounds
you
fun.
should.
Yeah.
What? Okay. What are you reading right now?
Well, nothing because I just finished the Bird Eater. I will say that we had to even like postpone our recording because I was so late because I didn't expect the Harbinger to take me so long. It is long. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, oh, I'll be done.
Yeah.
And it's October through December are very busy months for me. So
you have children.
Yeah, I got 3 of them and Halloween, and then, you know, it's going to be holidays soon. So, but I'm going to start Burn for Jack tonight, and it will probably be done tonight. Yeah. So it's very short, if not tomorrow. After that, I'm going to read, is it Gothicana or Gothicana?
Either way, I think is fine. You're actually
Okay,
gonna read it? I'm so excited.
It's on my TBR. It was on my TBR. Well, for October, I didn't get around to it in time for this, but I am going to read it as soon as I'm done with Burning for Jack. Because I'm excited for it. Because I really do think I'm going to like this one.
Burning for Jack?
So,
or Gothicana?
Okay.
Burn
for Jack will probably be fun.
Yeah,
but,
that's our bad KU book.
KU book. You guys got to tune in to hear about, especially our next Thirsty, because she picked Burn for Jack, and I picked a book called Squeak for her.
I finished it in like 45 minutes, by the way.
It is like 50.
I'm gonna have to like explain.
I can't wait to hear.
Like, I'm gonna have to like go into detail what the Omniverse is. Because I had to look it up.
Yeah, because I don't even know. I just read it and I just started busting up laughing, and I'm like, I'm saving this. Yep. It's hers. So, what are you currently reading right now?
So, I texted you the other day that I was at Walmart. I literally went for butter, stopped at the book section, and it was, yeah. Oh, just look, I'm here. I had a bad meeting at work, so I'm like, you know what? I just need some time, you know? So I ended up getting, it's called God Killer by Hannah something. Looks really cool. Oh, Hannah Canner. I have it up. I don't know why.
No, yeah.
So I'm reading that. It's a physical book for once.
Yeah.
And okay, so I did make sure that it wasn't on Kindle Unlimited before I actually bought it, because
I always do that. Yeah.
And then I got popsicles too.
Ooh, yeah. What kind?
Just like the tube ones. I'm having surgery, so like I have to have something that's like,
oh, that's right,
nice on my throat.
About that.
Yeah,
like the Flintstones.
No, it's like the $3
freeze pops.
Yeah,
the freeze pops. Man, you know what I miss? This is random, and I'll be done after this.
No,
do you remember Jell-O pudding pops? Were those a thing when you were a kid?
Pudding pops.
Oh my god!
Hold on,
you missed out on those.
Oh no, I did. I loved those.
Oh, they're gone.
They're gone forever.
I mean, they've been gone. They've been gone for like years. Because they're unhealthy. I'm like, what,
dude?
What, you got rid of like one of the best treats? Do you
know how many unhealthy things?
Thank you.
Shit, I can't even look up Starbaker. Come on,
please. Yes. Anyways, pudding pops has nothing to do with this. Phenomenal.
Neither did popsicles. So
I mean, Walmart.
Yeah, I was at Walmart.
God Killer.
I did get butter.
Oh, you did get your butter?
I did.
Real butter?
Real butter, of course.
Salted?
Unsalted.
I use salted a lot.
Well, okay, so I bake a lot, and you use unsalted with baking because you don't want to...
I can't bake. I'm bad at it. I can cook a meal. I can't bake treats.
Some nice treats.
You bake treats.
I do. I bake treats and bread and all sorts of things. But you can't use salted butter because...
Yeah, no, I know.
Chemistry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, who figured that out?
So, what's our November book club book?
So, I had this idea that we will start... I have all these fun ideas. I don't know why I have to implement. I have to implement all these fun ideas when, like, literally, I change it all the time. Anyway, so I thought maybe we could start like reading book talk books, because I feel like they get a lot of hype, and not necessarily for good reasons. So I think we should start our buddy reads being book talk books. That way we can, suss out what's actually worth reading off of book talk.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one.
So this is
I have high hopes. Sorry, I have high hopes for this one.
Me too, but like most,
I know.
So it is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Yarros. Is that how you pronounce their last name? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
So that will be our November buddy read. Maybe we should actually read it together. Let me know when you start it so I can start it with you.
Okay, I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna read Gothic Cannon.
Okay,
first. I have to.
Yeah,
I'll start it after that. I'll let you.
Okay,
know. I'll let you know for sure. You'll read quicker than me though, because I'm a very slow reader.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna have some time.
Facts. Oh God, yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna be so bored.
Gonna be reading a lot. Yeah,
it's gonna be another hour-and-a-half episode.
No, it was fine. Yeah. So I'll let you know though for sure.
I feel like it's more fun that way because we can be like, dude, Where are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
How far did you get?
Where are you?
Because
yeah, that will be fun.
and
Yeah,
I'm
we should
so
definitely
sorry.
do that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, good. Please be sure to check us out on our social. We got socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We want our TikTok to get up to 100.
Mm-hmm. We're so close. We're
followers.
at like 75.
We're so close because I want or at that point we could put our link tree up, so it'd be really cool if we can get that. So tell your friends. Any
and your
books
friends of
we
friends
discussed, and them too.
Yeah.
Any books we discussed will be on our website. You can sign up for our newsletter if you want to stay up to date with our new releases.
And finally, if you're a fan of this podcast and want to show us some love, please subscribe and share it with like literally everybody you know. Please.
Thank you so much for listening to us today. And I'm your co-host, Stephanie.
And I'm Bekk.
And this has been S&B Monthly. See you in the next chapter.
Your average rating? Yeah, so it's really fun. So we can go through that, and then like the next episode will be like what we want to accomplish. Like I read too much this month or this year. I feel like I want to go back to like one book a month, or not one book a month, one book a week, and then like focus more on like our social media or whatever. So that's kind of like what my thought process for like our resolutions.
Like yeah. So I only put, because I just started reading at the end of last year. I put I wanted to read 25 books this year, and I'm at 43.
I know.
I can't believe I've read that many. It's insane.
Yeah, so there's like 52 weeks in a year, I want to say. So like 52 is probably a good metric.
Yeah. But that's insane. I mean,
I know.
It's just crazy. Some shit happened this year too, so that kind of took me out for a little
bit.
But
a lot of shit has happened this year, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a year for sure. Alexis is getting into reading. She bought a new book called Dear Evan Hansen.
I hear about that every once in a while.
Yeah, she's like,